Morning, Glory, America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. Hugh Hewitt back inside the Beltway for a month, and I'm going to go up north and just dig into New Hampshire and Maine. Jake Sherman joins me, editor-in-chief of Punchbowl News. Punchbowl News is your one-stop shopping center for news of what's going on the Hill, and they're coming back this weekend. I got the rundown on the debt limit showdown from Jake this morning. Good morning, Jake.
Hey, Hugh. How are you?
Good. That was a fabulous write-up today. Why don't you summarize for people where we are on the debt limit?
Yeah, so Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, obviously has put out a proposal to lift the debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion, coupled with a whole host of spending cuts that will, repealing the Inflation Reduction Act, and doing a whole host of things, energy policy. Democrats criticize this by saying it's not a serious proposal. No opening gambit, Hugh, as you know, is serious, right? It's serious in the sense that if Republicans had 60 votes in the Senate, a House majority, and a president, they would pass this. They don't have any of those things. So now it comes. Let me reverse for a second. He has some problems inside his conference. This bill eliminates ethanol subsidies and a whole host of other things that people are nervous about. Some conservatives wanted to go farther. McCarthy's going to put this on the floor probably Wednesday, Thursday, he hopes, of this week. And then after that, we'll have to see where it lands. Now, the interesting thing to me is I keep getting calls from Democrats and sort of my colleagues saying, what is McCarthy doing? What is he thinking? As if it's not clear. Like what he's doing is he's trying to get a debt limit bill across the House of Representatives. And then he wants to negotiate because there's an intractable situation going on. Republicans want a bill with spending cuts to raise the debt limit. Democrats don't. Those are two irreconcilable positions. So when something is irreconcilable, you go into a negotiation. That's what McCarthy wants. And what he wants at the end of the day, Hugh, is not that complicated. He wants to raise the debt limit, cut spending, do some sort of work requirements for social safety net programs, and permitting reform for energy projects. This is it. This is not that complicated. That's what he wants at the end of the day.
Now, what's interesting to me is President Biden has taken the no negotiation stance. That didn't work for Donald Trump when he took the same stance vis-a-vis Nancy Pelosi in the second half of his term. And Nancy Pelosi got her way. Because if you have 1/3 of the government, or 1/2 of 1/3 of the government, you get your way. You get to negotiate. I don't think it is politically possible for the president to wreck the markets if the House Republicans have passed a bill. That's a big if, but you seem to think that Kevin McCarthy has the votes to pass his bill.
I do think he does. I think at the end of the day, Republicans are going to rally around him. And by the way, Hugh, it helps McCarthy that Biden's not negotiating. That's something that helps him.
Yes.
It helps him rally around, Kevin. Now, all of that said, I don't think, and I'm not positive about this today, sitting here on whatever, the 24th of April, the Senate cannot pass a clean debt ceiling. There's no way. Not today. Now, if the deadline's June 15th, could they do it June 10th? Probably. But today, everyone's back. All Republicans are backing up McCarthy. And if the question is, will Democrats wait them out? I mean, I don't know the answer to that. That's a really risky proposition. And what happens if McCarthy gets a clean debt ceiling and we're on the brink of default? I don't know what he does. His position right now is that he needs to negotiate. And I think, to be honest with you, that there are Democrats who want Biden to negotiate. Number one, Joe Manchin, who says, why not use this opportunity? Like, the White House is in part scarred because Biden was around during the Boehner years when they cut, $1 trillion of spending over the life of the Budget Control Act, which, by the way, conservatives hated then, Hugh. Looking back now at that Boehner-Obama deal, that was the most successful spending cut bill probably in the last 15 years.
No, we are naked in the defense area. Our stockpiles are gone, and China is threatening Taiwan because of sequestration. So you won't find a national security conservative who thought that sequestration was a good idea.
No, absolutely not. And by the way, they undid sequestration at the end of the day. So, but listen, I'll shift back to 2023 where we are now. I don't know how this ends. Wall Street people are saying they won't default. They've never done it before. Nothing ever happens until it happens for the first time, Hugh. And I think that we need to acknowledge that this is a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, the president should be leading, not hiding. But, he's going to release a video. Now, Jake, I have a question for you, which you may know, though you cover the Hill like nobody. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't believe a presidential campaign has ever been launched by video before.
Obviously,
Obviously,
Obama might have done that in 12. I don't remember, but I don't. I hear your point. I think. Listen, I think that I thought Obama did that, but I could be wrong.
well, this year we've got Donald Trump did it live. We've got the announcements by Tim Scott and by Nikki Haley and by Ramaswamy have all been live. When the former Vice President Pence announces, it'll be live, and when I expect Governor DeSantis to announce, it will be live. That's because they're not afraid of the teleprompter and they want a crowd screaming. If Obama did it by video, that's news to me, and it wouldn't be unprecedented.
Didn't Nikki Haley put out a video before she did a live event?
I don't recall that, but you could be right.
She did.
I just think they all had a rally on the same day because I remember Nikki Haley in South Carolina with.
Your point is well taken. I hear you.
And the point is, the president doesn't want to risk it because he's not very good live, and they can do as many takes as they need to get a video correct. Now, I got a question for you, Jake. If he bows out late, if he pulls a Johnson because Bobby Kennedy Jr. gets 30% in New Hampshire, if he goes LBJ, who steps in immediately? I have my answer. Who do you think?
Who do they go to immediately?
No, who steps in? Who steps in? Now, Kamala Harris will obviously step in, but I don't think she's the only one.
I don't have a sense. I mean, I tend to think, because I'm not a romantic, but I think that there are governors around, people like Roy Cooper in North Carolina, maybe Pete Buttigieg. I don't know. Who do you think?
Gavin Newsom, and he wins.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, he wins. He's got the most money. He's got the most media markets. He gets all of California. He gets New York. I mean, he just steps in. He might even call up whoever the governor of New York is. I can't remember her name right now, and ask her to be his running mate. Yeah, and so you got the two big blue states, and boom, there you go. So, Jake, let me close by asking you about. I didn't see it in Punchbowl, but it's not your beat. 51 former intelligence officials are revealed to have been cat's paws for Team Biden in 2020. Big scandal. House Intel, House Judiciary have released that. Mike Morell is in hot water. Tony Blinken set it off. It's another Steele dossier. Big story outside of conservative media?
It's not been. I mean, I did know it, but I haven't paid a ton of attention to it because, as you said, it's a little bit outside of our area of expertise. But I don't think it didn't strike me as that strange that former intelligence officials were making statements on behalf of the Biden administration when they were presumably, supportive of the Biden administration. But all that said, I know it's getting a lot of buzz on the right.
I think it's going to break out. Now, my last question is about Twitter. I have paid the money because, A, I wanted to go longer occasionally, like I did last night diving into New Hampshire, the elections back to 1976. B, I got to edit. And C, I don't want to have anyone appropriate my intellectual property in my name, or D, fake anybody out. You did too. I do not understand.
I did not pay, just to be clear. What happens is Punchbowl News' account is verified by dint of being an organization, which we don't pay for. That's just something that Twitter does. And they give you 5 people that you could associate with the account for free.
So I do not. Okay, I'm glad you got it for free. I didn't know that. Maybe I could have gotten it for free because HughHewitt.com is an organization. But I didn't. I paid for it. And I am just genuinely curious. All these blue checkers who are making a virtue signal by saying, I didn't pay for it, I won't pay for it, don't they support subscriptions? I mean, I have like 10 subscriptions because I believe in the news business. Twitter's got to make money too, and these are the same people who decry the decline of local news because local news can't afford to have their subscription levels got to be low. I don't get it, Jake. I really don't.
I'll tell you what I think is legitimate, to be honest with you, and I do get it a little bit. I think that people think that there are two things going on. Number one, he's let back on some pretty gross people who have pretty gross opinions and are expressing it on the website. That's number one. Number two, people are saying, well, if the service has gone downhill this much, why would I pay for it? I mean, listen, if I didn't get it for free, would I pay for it? What is it, $100 a year or something like that? $95 a year? I probably would. But I understand the hesitation to supporting it. I think it's not as great of a service as it was before, but the idea that we could all just get off Twitter, I mean, you use it for your job, I use it for my job, even just for monitoring news. You know what I mean?
And I do not want people to be misled, as has happened all week.
right.
by people who decline to pay their $8 a month all week long, fake accounts, and I won't follow anyone. I'll keep everyone I followed before because they were all blue checks, but it's a news service. That's what it is for me. It's just a news, and it's a sports service as well. By the way, you think the Cavs can come back from a 3-1 deficit against the Knicks, Jake?
I hope not. Go Knicks.
Oh, man. Oh, I shouldn't have let you say that. That's a curse on the Knicks. Thank you, Jake Sherman. Still blue checked, even though he doesn't pay for it. I didn't know that. Dwayne, I blame you. Stay tuned, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.